country. Let's check back in with Cheryl.
Now, in other parts of the United States, it's going to be another wet day for the Pacific Northwest, south to Santa Barbara, California. And the Rockies, though, will be getting a break from the snowy weather. While in the Northeast, you're getting some icy conditions and some fog. Now, are you heading into the Big Apple or maybe trying to get around the area? Well, make plans for dealing with the fog. New York City became shrouded in fog overnight, and it could stay that way for most of the morning. The city reached the 50s overnight, but your temperatures will be going downhill from there. It's a lousy day across the Northeast. Lots of low-grade clouds, very gray, very gloomy. It's quite foggy, and it's also quite wet. Now, this morning we've had some rain around the Boston metro area, so if you're coming in maybe from Lynn or Peabody or Saugus, expecting a slow go this morning along the Salem Turnpike and the Northeast Expressway. We have still some rain across the area and lots of thick fog, too. And the fog is quite pervasive, too, around the New York City metro area, where a dense fog advisory has been posted. So there, too, a slow go across the LIE and across the Taconic State Parkway. We pick up more foggy weather, too, for those of you in Pittsburgh and Philly, Washington, D.C., Bethesda, Maryland, on into Roanoke and Richmond, Virginia. Just give yourself a lot of extra driving time to reach your destination this morning. Now, besides seeing the fog, though, again, it's been fairly wet. We have a front kind of meandering from the Ohio Valley and tailing over towards the lower Hudson Valley. Now, out ahead of the front, though, we still have the winds coming up from the south, a mild, moist flow coming up from the Gulf of Mexico. So with that mild, moist air flowing up and over the front, that's the perfect setup for some widespread rain. And again, it's been very wet this morning across the Great Lakes and across the Northeast. The rain continues right now for the New York City metro area around JFK, LaGuardia, Poughkeepsie, New Rochelle. It's pretty wet. Grab the umbrellas. The rain continues to streak over towards Hartford and Danbury, Connecticut. So here, too, a slow go if you're traveling across Connecticut around the Merritt Parkway. You're going to be encountering some raindrops this morning, that's for sure. Now, most of the east quite active with the moist flow coming up from the Gulf of Mexico. But the east is not the only spot to see active weather. Into the west we go. Here comes another storm system. And there, too, we see rains this morning from Washington State southward into California. At least, though, some better news for those of you in Colorado, where yesterday it looked like this, though. We had quite a bit of snow that fell around Denver, and the roads were kind of messy. But at least for today, temperatures should be warming into low to mid-40s. And with that warmth and with lots of sunshine, too, all the snow that we saw yesterday should be melting away for today. Here's our current weather map for the west, and we see high pressure ridging in across the Rockies. So sunshine galore, we think, from Casper and Cheyenne, Wyoming, on into Denver and Boulder, Colorado. You'll be in great shape. And pretty quiet, too, on into the southwestern states. But across the rest of the west, rather stormy, rather unsettled. With our new low-pressure system coming across Washington, it has been triggering some rain and some mountain snow. And the snow could be rather substantial, we think, for parts of the Washington Cascades and the Siskiyous, where winter storm warnings remain posted. And actually, there'll be some snow showers southward over towards the Sierra Nevada as well. Here come the rain, though. We have the rain showers around Seattle and Bellingham this morning. Scattered snows, though, for Spokane. And still some very wet, sloppy weather conditions, too, for California, with it's raining right now for Redding and Red Bluff, and more rain southward over towards Fresno. So a fairly active weather pattern across the country with more rain and a chance for more severe weather, too, across the southeast. Stay tuned. We'll check out the latest traveling conditions for your morning commute. That's coming up next on TravelWise. A good Wednesday morning to you as we check out traveling conditions across the country. First of all, though, the airport reports. And this morning, delays are averaging about 75 minutes or so for the St. Louis area. Meanwhile, for Philadelphia, delays around 30 minutes this morning. And due to low ceilings and lots of rain, too, plaguing Atlanta, delays averaging about 30 minutes. Now, across the southeast, a very stormy weather pattern today, very turbulent, very unstable. You have this very moist, almost a tropical air mass that encompasses the southeast, and that is setting the stage for lots of showers and lots of hefty thunderstorms. All around the southeast, there will be a chance for some powerful thunderstorms today, thunderstorms that will be capable of producing large hail, maybe some isolated tornadoes, very gusty winds, and more torrential downpours, so be careful today from Atlanta southward into Florida. Currently, a tornado watch has been posted for parts of Mississippi, Alabama, and extreme northwestern Florida, a tornado watch that will remain in effect until 10 o'clock this morning. Now, when we talk about a tornado watch, that means areas, or at least the area right in this zone, but even around the surrounding areas, it means conditions are favorable for the possibility of tornado formation. So we'll certainly have to watch out for maybe some threatening skies across parts of the southeast. Meanwhile, for the northeast, again, we have had a few airport delays this morning. We've had a lot of rain, lots of fog, poor visibility, so there are some airport delays from LaGuardia on into Philadelphia. You'll have to be mindful of that if you're doing some flying this morning. The fog very, very thick as it shrouds the northeast. Thick fog, too, for the mid-Atlantic. And the foggy conditions southward through Raleigh, Durham, Columbia, Sumter, Charlotte, North Carolina. Very foggy, too, on into Athens and Atlanta, Georgia. Good morning. It's time now for your winter weather update. But although the calendar does say January, for most of you across the east, we're talking about a weather pattern today much more typical of what you would find maybe for April or possibly early May. We're talking about some really balmy conditions across the eastern part of the country and lots of heavier showers and thunderstorms as well. So a more spring-like weather pattern as opposed to winter. With all the showers and thunderstorms that we've seen across the southeast, the rain is really starting to mount. For Waco, Texas, nearly 5 inches of rain in the past 30 hours. Baton Rouge has had some hefty rainfall, too, likewise for Lake Charles. Impressive rainfall totals, too, across Louisiana and across Arkansas. And the rain continues this morning. We have a very moist flow feeding northward from the Gulf of Mexico, and that is helping to fuel the showers and the storms. And the rain is still coming down quite hard right across the Gulf coastal region, making it a tough time for traveling this morning along Interstate 10. You'll be encountering some blinding downpours as the rain has been coming down at the rate of nearly 2 inches per hour. So some tremendous rain inundating the southeast this morning. And the reason for all the sloppy weather is a front that's been slowly marching towards the east. There's a huge ridge of high pressure that's poised in the Atlantic, and that high pressure is acting like a roadblock. It's inhibiting the forward progress of the system. So this front's just been slowly inching towards the east the last couple of days. It's been helping to fuel all the heavier showers and thunderstorms. And with so much rain, we've had some widespread flooding. Numerous flash flood watches and warnings continue this morning from eastern Texas, across Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia, and on into Florida. Besides the threat for heavy rain, also a chance for some severe weather. It's a very moist, a very buoyant air mass across the southeast. It's going to be conducive for some very strong thunderstorms, possibly producing some large hail and maybe even tornadoes. And a tornado watch continues until 10 o'clock this morning for the Gulf coastal region. You can see numerous thunderstorms erupting across the Gulf. They are sliding off towards the northeast, and they are helping to dump some locally heavy rain. So again, give yourself some extra driving time. The rain continues for Texas, and it's working towards the east. Stay tuned. We'll have a live update with some of the flooding across the southeast coming up. Quite miserable across the northeast. Lots of cloudy conditions, lots of fog, and lots of rain. Currently, a dense fog advisory remains posted for the New York City metro area, where visibilities are quite poor. Thick fog, too, around Philadelphia and Pittsburgh on into Hagerstown, Maryland, where visibilities are hovering close to zero, and more fog, too, across the central Appalachians. Now, besides the fog, though, we're seeing a good deal of rain as well encompassing the northeast. There's a front that's slicing from southern New England, and then it's tailing back to a low-pressure system over the Ohio Valley. Ahead of the front, a very mild and very broad southerly flow pumping in lots of mild, moist air from the Gulf of Mexico. And with this mild, moist air flowing up and over the front, it's setting the stage for a widespread area of rain. It's still raining this morning for those of you in the Boston metro area. If you're coming in from Lynn or Peabody or Revere, give yourself some extra driving time as you might be coming in, heading into work or school this morning. It's going to be a slow go. We've had a lot of rain, too, from Rochester and Watertown, New York, on into the Big Apple. And, in fact, within the last 30 minutes or so, very heavy downpours have worked their way across LaGuardia and JFK over towards Islip and the Hamptons. A slow go, too, this morning across the LIE. And maybe your travel plans take you up towards Connecticut. There, too, you'll be having some travel problems this morning across the Merritt Parkway, Hutchinson Parkway. Lots of rain. It continues to streak towards the northeast rather quickly at about 25 to 30 miles per hour. So a very active weather pattern across the east. As Bruce was elaborating on, the heavier showers and thunderstorms plaguing the southeastern states, but that moisture continues to flow northward across the Ohio Valley and the northeast. Now, especially across upstate New York and across northern New England, there it's been cold enough where some of that precipitation has been rather frozen. We've had a little bit of freezing rain so far for Portland, Maine, and then plain old snow, though, up around Caribou and Holton, and that may persist for the rest of the afternoon. Heading towards the west, though, things have finally calmed down for those of you in Colorado after picking up some snowfall yesterday. This is how it looked, though, yesterday in Jefferson County between Denver and Boulder. You picked up a few more inches of snow. Today, though, that snow is going to be turning into slush. We're calling for some sunshine and temperatures topping off low to mid 40s around the Denver metro area, so conditions will be improving for Denver. Here's our weather map, though, for the west, and we see high pressure building across the central Rockies, helping to bring about the sunny conditions that we're calling for today. Farther towards the west, the weather's going downhill. Our low pressure system is...
No place on earth has better weather.
Good morning. It's time now for your winter weather update. And although the calendar does say January, I'll tell you what, across most of the east it feels more like springtime than winter. We've had some very balmy temperatures, and with this mild air, we've also had numerous showers and thunderstorms, and the southeast has really been hard hit. The rain has been copious over the last day or so. Waco, Texas, nearly 5 inches of rain. We've had some soaking downpours, too, across Louisiana and across Arkansas. And the rain continues to come down nonstop. We have the wind streaming up from the south, pumping in all that moisture from the Gulf of Mexico, and that's been fueling some tremendous downpours. Still, it's raining very hard around the Gulf coastal region, especially for Mobile and Baldwin counties in Alabama. We've had so much rain in the last day or so that there's been some serious flooding, and numerous flash flood watches and warnings continue at this time as the moisture continues to feed in from the Gulf. Now, all this wet weather is being caused by a slow-moving low-pressure system. We have high pressure anchored just off the southeastern shoreline, and with high pressure in place, it's really acting like a roadblock, inhibiting the storm system from moving towards the east. So the front's just been kind of draped this area the last day or so, and that's why we've had some persistent waves of showers and thunderstorms, one right after another, feeding in over the same spots. So the ground very saturated and very, very soggy. Heavy rains continue at this time for coastal regions of Mississippi and Alabama, and now some strong thunderstorms, too, invading the Florida panhandle. And with so much rain, again, flooding is of utmost concern today. Numerous flash flood watches and warnings remain posted throughout the southeastern corridor. And we'd like to remind you that do not try to attempt to drive through a flooded area. Even if there's maybe some water covering the road, you may not know the total depth of that water, and your car could easily get swept away by some raging torrents of water. So be really careful for traveling. Do not travel over some ponted roads and some roadways. It's going to be very, very dangerous indeed. For the southeast, besides the heavy rain, another threat today will be some strong to potentially severe thunderstorms. It's a very moist, a very unstable air mass, a very volatile situation in the southeast, and we could very well see some large hail, very strong winds, maybe some isolated tornadoes across the southeast. So far, we have had some mean thunderstorms erupting around the Gulf coastal region, and it continues to work their way towards the northeast. Still raining around New Orleans at this time. Heavy rains, too, over towards Gulfport, Pascagoula, Mobile Bay. And besides that, too, we've had reports of very strong winds. At least earlier this morning, some of the winds around Mobile Bay gusting up to 50 miles an hour. So again, watching out for the possibility for more severe weather today. Stay tuned. We'll update this monstrous storm system in the southeast. More details coming up at the top of the hour. Sunshine will certainly be at a premium throughout the rest of the day. We have a low-pressure system that's coming in across the Ohio Valley, and the attending front draped across the lower Hudson Valley. And along with that, a very moist flow coming up from the Gulf of Mexico. Mild, very balmy air flowing up and over this frontal boundary, and it's causing widespread rains this morning from Detroit across New York State, and more rain sliding over towards southern New England. Now, in most places, though, temperatures are above the freezing mark, so most of the precipitation has taken the form of rain. However, across upstate New York and over parts of northern New England, it's still cold enough for some frozen precipitation.